In the mixing table update, just as the name implies, the developers added the mixing table as well as 6 different kinds of tea to go along with it, so you probably want to know everything about them. Well, you've come to the right place, as in this episode of the Rust Beginner's Guide, I'll be telling you everything you need to know about the mixing table and teas in Rust. Before we cover any of the teas that were added, I will first be telling you everything about the mixing table. The mixing table can be purchased at the bandit camp at the food market for 175 scrap. It can also be found in sunken chests with a 1% chance, in regular crates with a 0.5% chance, and in oil rig scientists with a 0.2% chance. Once you have one, you can research it at a research bench for 75 scrap, and once you have a blueprint, it can be crafted at a level 1 workbench for 200 metal fragments and 100 stone in 30 seconds. Once you have crafted one, you can place it down into one foundation by a third of a foundation area. Also, if you're into that kind of thing, then you can place the mixing table down outside, as it doesn't require a foundation to be underneath it. Now that you have a mixing table, you're almost ready to start mixing, but one final thing you need to do is find berries. Berries can most frequently be found in forests, and upon harvesting a berry bush in the wild, you'll get one berry of that specific color and berry seeds. As berries only give 5 calories and 2 hydration, you should only eat them if you want more seeds to plant. And finally, if you want to start making a lot of tea, you can start farming them in planters just like with any other plant. Now that you have a mixing table and berries to start making tea, I'll show you all the kinds of tea, their effects, and what you need to make them. Before I show you that, however, I'd like to highlight that you can only mix things in the mixing table with the exact recipe that is specified, as any deviation from the recipe will result in you not being able to start the mixing process. You can see a list of all of your active effects inside your inventory next to your character. Now, let's move on to the teas. The general thing you have to know about teas is that they all have 3 tiers: basic, advanced, and pure, with basic being the worst and pure being the best. You should also know that advanced tea is mixed from 4 basic tea and that pure tea is mixed from 4 advanced tea. The first kind of tea we have is Anti-Ratty. It can be made from 2 red berries and 2 green berries. Anti-Ratty gives you 2 effects: radiation resistance and radiation exposure resistance. Radiation resistance reduces the damage you take from radiation for 30 minutes, and radiation exposure resistance reduces the amount of radiation poisoning you gain for 5 minutes. On screen now you can see the effects of this tea demonstrated at the launch site, with all 3 tiers of tea and not drinking tea at all represented. I chose the launch site as I think it's the only place with a real practical use for this tea, and as you can see, pure Anti-Ratty allows you to survive for significantly longer than if you don't drink any tea at all. The second kind of tea is healing tea. It can be made from 4 red berries. Its effect is really simple. Basic healing tea restores 30 health over time, advanced healing tea restores 45 health over time, and pure healing tea restores 60 health over time. The only special thing about this tea is that it can quite commonly be found inside food crates, with both basic and pure versions of it having a roughly 15% chance of spawning. The third kind of tea is max health tea. It can be made from 3 red berries and 1 yellow berry. The effect of this is pretty simple as well. It increases your max health for 5 minutes. Its basic version increases it by 5, its advanced version by 12.5, and its pure version by 20. The fourth kind of tea is ore tea. It can be made from 2 yellow berries and 2 blueberries. This tea increases the amount of materials you get from mining nodes, but it doesn't apply to small collectible versions of them. The effect lasts for 30 minutes. The basic variant of this tea increases resources gained by 20%, the advanced variant by 40%, and its pure form increases resources mined by 60%. The fifth kind of tea is scrap tea. It can be made from 2 yellow berries and 2 white berries. This tea increases the amount of scrap you get from breaking barrels. I'd like to emphasize the fact that this doesn't include crates at all, so it's only useful for road trips. The effect of this tea lasts for 30 minutes. Its basic form increases scrap gain by 30%, its advanced form increases it by 60%, and its pure form increases scrap gained by 100%. And the final kind of tea we have in the game is wood tea, which increases wood gain from cutting down trees. Its effect lasts for 30 minutes. It can be made from 2 red berries and 2 blueberries. Its basic form increases wood gain by 30%, its advanced form increases it by 60%, and its pure form increases wood gain by 100%. Apart from teas, there are also 3 other recipes which you can mix at the mixing table. You can make low-grade fuel with 1 cloth and 3 animal fat, you can make gunpowder with 20 sulfur and 20 charcoal, and if you have the blueprint, you can also make explosives for 50 gunpowder, 3 low-grade fuel, 10 sulfur, and 10 metal fragments. I hope this guide helped you, and if it did, consider leaving a like and subscribing. If you really enjoy my content, you can join my Discord server and chat with me, or you can consider becoming one of my patrons on patreon.com/TheMeemishGamer, or you can click the join button next to the subscribe button to become a channel member. I would like to thank Bothered Nickel for being my patron, and thank you guys so much for over 6,650 subscribers.